Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. The best way is... If you became a millionaire, would you keep working? I want to tell you guys something. What's going on right now is California's trying to figure out about crypto. My name is Ben. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. No channel works harder to keep you in the know about crypto. My name is Ben. Come to you live every single day, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is January 5th, Thursday, and it's spicy 69 degrees. Can somebody get a copy of the book? Is anybody in here? They always leave us when we start. It's so sad.
I'll go grab it.
It's so sad. Got the first physical copy of the book yesterday, so really excited about that. There's so much going on in crypto, guys. There's so much going on right now that I'm actually overwhelmed because I can't give you all the content I want to give you right now because there's just so much going on. We have the Silvergate Contagion. We've got Barry Silver, Digital Currency Group. We had some massive movement of Polygon from Wales, which is probably connected to Barry Silver. We had the Dan Friedberg. There it is. Look at that. Look at beautiful, beautiful. We have Dan Friedberg working a deal. We have, still the Logan Paul CoffeeZilla thing that's still continuing. That's actually probably what we're going to be doing a video on today. So tonight, that'll be at 10 o'clock. But also, it's just insane what's happening right now. Like there's 2 or 3 other stories that I can't even remember that we're supposed to be talking about. And it's hard to cover it all right now because of just how fast crypto moves. And we got 1 video a day in the live stream. And it's just like, has me thinking that we're going to see the price dump. I think that's what we're going to see. I'm surprised it's held up so well. It was revealed as like an $8 billion Silvergate hold or something like that.
Really?
Or they owe $8 billion.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? Yeah. Let's see. I think it's Silvergate. 8 billion. 5 hours ago, Silvergate. Oh, this is they raced to cover 8.1 billion in withdrawals during crypto meltdown. So not necessarily an insolvency, but they sold assets at a loss.
Oh, right.
So they did lose a ton of value here. But its staff remains committed to crypto. So Silvergate fell 40%. The stock did in early trading Thursday. They laid off 40% of its staff. So Silvergate scrambling right now. Silvergate services a lot of the biggest companies in crypto. So they're like the regulated, fancier scam version of Deltec Bank. Here we go. We got a guy here. Go up here. Lazy fame. The quickest way to get lazy fame on my channel is to say some stupid crap about Bitcoin being the only decentralized network and that everything else is a scam. Is that Corey Klippenstein? Corey, is that you? Is that you? I think I scared him a little bit.
Then the next super chat is about as opposite of that as you can get.
Bonk. Taylor Bell. Bonk. I'm not buying bonk, but what's it doing lately?
It's on a pullback. It's still
it
up,
is,
but it's around. I mean, it's still up 43%.
Yeah. So over the last 24 hours.
Yeah. But I mean, that's off of a big drop.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyways, just paying attention to bonk. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not buying it. I'm not telling you to buy it, but we're watching it. I mean, it's got a lot of hype and it's got a lot of people's attention in crypto. When nothing is moving, it's moving. So obviously that's a quick way. Actually, there were some things that pumped in the last 48 hours. But the point here is with Genesis, Silvergate, Digital Currency Group, so much overlap there. Barry Silver potentially having to liquidate assets. Maybe that's what this Polygon move is. Somebody showed me a chart that linked Goldman Sachs to Polygon, which was very fascinating because, I wasn't saying out loud what it was. Barry Silver's got a gigantic investment in Polygon from everything I understand. I told you guys there were 2 investments that Barry Silver had that would cover the entire, not this 8 billion because that's not a whole, but the $1 billion. And it was in Circle and a crypto coin, is what I said. Then yesterday, 2 days before this potential liquidation, a ton of movement on Polygon, which is the coin that I was told he has a gigantic investment in.
Well,
So I don't think that's necessarily a coincidence. And it isn't necessarily that he could be selling it. It also could be he finally found someone to take that as collateral on a loan to bail DCG out. So tomorrow's the day, or Friday's the day. We're going to find out exactly what goes on with that. But his hope, he's turned down a large investment from a big player. From what I understand, from what I've been told, he turned down a large investment, a bailout, because they wouldn't take what he had as collateral. They wanted, like, I don't know what the terms was, but he didn't like the terms. And so now he's been shopping those investments as collateral to try to, not have to liquidate those assets. He don't want to sell his Polygon. Yeah. What does that tell y'all?
I don't know if you saw, Suzu tweeted, it's been deleted now at this point, but I was looking at it last night, that FTX paid Genesis back $2.1 billion before it folded. That's subject to being clawed back. So not only
$2.5 billion it was, right?
No, $2.1 billion they paid from FTX. So Genesis owes about $1 billion to Gemini, and that's the hole they're trying to cover right now. But if they get another $2.1 billion clawback from what they paid back, it could be, basically they're in the whole $3 billion, not just $1 billion. They're in trouble. There's some heat there.
Man, a lot of very, very interesting stuff going on. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it is. I thought I was seeing 2.5, but also, supposedly, did you see where they're saying that the SEC is investigating Silvergate and Digital Currency Group?
Yeah, I did see that.
Is that real?
I don't know. And what I would, like, some of the comments I saw on that was like, look, SEC's quote unquote investigating everything in crypto right now. So it's more interesting of when they actually bring charges or a case, and they don't generally do that until something happens. So they're probably putting their ducks in a row to where if something goes down Friday, a bankruptcy and insolvency, something, they're going to move quick. That's my guess.
Let's see.
But I haven't seen anything corroborating that.
I just saw a tweet about it.
I did too. And a lot of the stuff that guy's been tweeting has been accurate recently, but it's a new account that I'm not that familiar with. We're not going to take that one to the bank.
Yeah.
But here, wouldn't surprise me.
DCG involvement is from 3 days ago. In Three Arrows Capital, FTX collapses, raised prospect of $1 billion clawbacks. This is what he was talking about here. And I told you guys that this is true. I messaged Sam last week, and I told him if he wanted to know who leaked his balance sheet, I know who it is. I know who leaked it to CoinDesk, for sure. Trying to get some more ducks in a row before we show you guys the entire picture. But it's involved in all of this. All of this stuff we're looking with Genesis and Digital Currency Group, who owns CoinDesk, by the way, very convenient leak, right? Did not know that the insolvency was as big and bad as it was. I talked about it in a video last night. It was in reaction to FTX announcing that they had a stable coin. Does not absolve FTX from having an insolvency and being stupid and criminals and frauds. But there was someone behind it that was not CZ that really got the ball rolling. And actually, a lot of people would say caused a lot of what we've seen since FTX went under. So, man, they wanted to stop them from that stable coin at every possible turn. That's why there's beef between Barry and Gemini right now. Their stable coin was getting better returns than USDC. And now look, at what's going on with Gemini and the Earn program. And, they're not filing bankruptcy, so they're subject to class action lawsuits. We're going to see a ton of class action lawsuits against these companies that don't file bankruptcy. So very, very interesting, what's going on. This is such a big story. We can't unpack it all on a live stream. Like, we just can't. There's too much to it. So we're trying to create some videos that can make it digestible for you. Probably next week, we're going to do that. We're going to show the connections between all of these different companies we've been talking about: Circle, Goldman Sachs, Digital Currency Group, FTX, Three Arrows Capital. We're going to be able to hopefully give you guys a nice visualization to make it much easier to understand. But it's a mess out there right now. What's interesting is we think Chapter 11 is potentially coming, at least maybe 50-50 that's going to happen for Digital Currency Group on Friday, right? And yet the crypto markets are being pretty resilient. The price hasn't moved this morning since all this stuff hit, and the stock went down 40%. It did go down to 16,770, I think, somewhere around there, and then it popped back up, and it's just holding. It's so bizarre.
That's what's getting really interesting to me is we're seeing extreme volatility in crypto-related stocks, not crypto itself, which kind of
Get rid of Corey Klibenstein. Get rid of Corey Klibenstein. I never promoted FTX a single time, you douche. Get rid of I don't want to give him any credit because and turn him into Ed Vardas or Kenny because he's got such a freaking lazy name. I don't even want to freaking give him any. He's not even worth a rant. So go ahead, continue.
I was just saying it's interesting that we're seeing so much stock movement and we are seeing traditional players, like the BlackRocks, like the Sequoias, like ARK Invest. They're the ones making big moves right now, kind of the whales of the traditional market. Not necessarily spot buying, but
buying coin.
Buying businesses that have a lot of assets, which is just fascinating to me.
Yeah, like Kathy Woods and ARK Invest, they big investment in coin.
Yep. Coin pumped like crazy yesterday.
Yep. And then, of course, we had,
Marathon Holdings, Digital Holdings, covered. Like
she bought a bunch of Bitcoin too, right?
I'm pretty sure, and I know she bought a lot of Tesla as well.
But a lot of people say Kathy Woods is not a good indicator of where the market's going. A lot of people say she's been wrong a lot of times. I don't follow her. Like, I'd like to have her on channel and talk to her, but I don't follow her enough to know if that's true or not. But I remember when we covered that story, there were people in the chat or on Twitter that were saying, "Oh, if Kathy Woods is going all in, definitely don't do that." She talks about Bitcoin going to $1 million by 2030. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But she puts stuff out there, and she is brave enough to have some opinions. So I like that at least. Yeah, Ben just bonked him. That's right. Okay, so let's see here. Let's check out my book. Here it is, guys. We have the book. This is the hardcover. The hardcover has less pages than the softcover, I think, because I think the softcover is going to be a little bit smaller in size. I think
probably shorter.
I don't know when that's going to happen. No,
I mean, like
not as
tall.
Right. Yes. It would be shorter.
Yeah.
So basically, the published date is on the 12th, and we're going to be doing tonight on our 10 o'clock video. We're going to be doing a crypto giveaway for, to celebrate the book, basically. I'm going to give away a couple signed copies of the book. We're going to move it over to Twitter. So you guys, that announcement is going to be tonight on the 10 p.m. video, which we're going to be covering Logan Paul and CoffeeZilla tonight. Super fascinating video. You're definitely going to want to be there at 10 o'clock and check out what's really going on with this. Because I think there's some wrongdoing. There's probably some not taking responsibility. Definitely not taking responsibility for a lot of stuff. But I do think there is some other actors involved in that situation who also need to get some blame. So we're going to break down that situation tonight at 10 p.m. Make sure to come back so you can not only watch that great video, but maybe win some crypto or a couple, signed copies of the book. So if you don't want the book signed and you're the winner, just say, please don't sign my book. I hate you.
Do you know when Books A Million will ship the books that got ordered? That was a question from chat.
The published date from Wiley is the 12th, but sometimes they go out a little bit earlier because obviously they're already printed. So, but if you haven't got your copy, make sure to go check that out on Amazon. You can go to bitboycrypto.com and then click book up here at the top. We've got just another week to get these sales in for the bestseller list. We think we're going to make it, but we don't know. We don't know what books are publishing also that week. So it could be some good competition. And obviously, we're going to be giving away some tickets to the Quantum Bitcoin Conference next week on Monday, where we're going to be doing one of our meetups for the book tour. So if you want to know where we're going to be and when we're going to be there, go check out this page as well. You got to have the book to get into the meetups. They're going to be more exclusive than the normal ones. Also, we on the back, I didn't even show this on the back here. We've got Altcoin Daily. We've got Crypto NDO. Tom McDonald, my boy. Tom McDonald. I love Tom McDonald. Miss Teton Crypto and Crypto Crow. They have some comments on the back. I didn't take a picture of that yet as well, but those are some recommendations. So really appreciate all my friends in crypto. You guys know those, I love all those people to death, and I really appreciate them stepping up. Raoul Powell, thanks to him for writing the forward as well. And I think people are going to really like this book. The chapters are short. They're full of information. It's going to keep you turning the pages. Definitely not a book that's going to take you a long time to read. I don't think the way that it's set up. So there we go. Checking out the crypto markets, coming in at 22,205 coins, 537 exchanges. The market cap down, I think it was at 819 yesterday. So 817 billion, almost 818, 30.7 billion in volume. It was 31, I think, yesterday. Bitcoin dominance falling again, 39.7%. ETH dominance up again, 18.7%. 13 Paraguays will send you an ETH transaction. Here we go. We got Bitcoin coming in at 16,844. What is it on BitGet?
Did they just change that? Was it always like, did it always show the volume in dollars and the coin? See how it shows the BTC volume? Did it always do that? Or is that new?
Know.
That looks new.
We don't look at the volume numbers per coin that much, so hard to say. Maybe somebody can say yes or no. If Metaverse makes up 30% of the crypto industry, can that power the next bull run? Metaverse will not make up 30% of the crypto industry. Not a shot. So where's Blockchain Boy? I don't know. Maybe trying to find a comfortable chair because I hear it's hard. Let's see here. Ethereum coming in 1249, holding tough. Man, it's just, if we don't get a new bottom, if there's a big announcement on Friday, we just got the Silvergate announcement. The stock dropped 40%. You saw all the stuff they're doing, cutting employees. The jobs report from ADP we'll talk about came out today. Very, very bullish for jobs, which is bearish for the economy right now. If we don't see Bitcoin go below $15,000, what will?
Right.
What will at this point? Like, people are just going to get bored of Bitcoin. They're still paying attention right now. So I don't know. Like, I feel very strongly. I made a tweet about this earlier today. Let's see. It was a good tweet. It was a dang good tweet. Today could be a panic day. So much news in the last 24 hours. It's honestly hard to cover up or keep it all. Dang it. That's a typo. I'm supposed to say cover it all. I don't know. To keep up. Oh, that does make sense. To keep up or cover it all. I should have said and. It would make more sense. If Bitcoin holds $15,000 in the midst of the DCG Genesis Silvergate debacle, on top of unemployment going the wrong way, numbers from ADP, chances the bottom is in dramatically goes up. If we don't get a dump in the next 2 weeks, based on what we're seeing with all this continuing of contagion, I just don't see it. I don't see what it's going to be. I don't see it happening. If we're going to have any kind of rally in March or April, like a lot of people are predicting, then I just don't see it going back down, guys. I mean, if all of this, and your chart people will tell you, it has nothing to do with what's happening in the world. It only has to do with charts. Okay, that's fine. We're still bumping into resistance. Hasn't broke out yet to signify a bottom. But the news heavily does affect crypto when it involves selling and insolvencies and leveraging and liquidations. So, and somebody asked, let's see, what was the question they asked? It was something about, I thought this was a very interesting point that I made here that I think you guys might want to see. If I don't show it now, I'll never show it again. Let's see here. He said, but how long does it take for the market to feel these factors? And this is what a lot of people are saying. Silvergate, almost $8 billion owed. Well, it's not actually technically owed.
I think they
filled that gap.
Yeah.
That's actually where I got that info from. Great question, but in my opinion, it's positive in a weird way because they owe money. They do owe money, regardless of the number, to a lot of entities that market manipulate and push the market down, hold the market back. So now they gave less money to play whale games. Plus, I love when TradFi companies disguised as crypto ones burned to the ground. So I don't know if we're going to feel a gigantic effect. We'll feel an effect of people liquidating assets if they get access to their funds again on some of these insolvent exchanges, but that'll be dominoes. It won't be one quick swipe. So let's see here. We've got top movers of the day. Frank, come on up.
Well, let me
actually, we have Gareth on today.
But before we move on to that, I was going to, maybe we can ask Gareth the same question. Yeah. If we do, like you're saying, if we don't obviously break 15, very, very, very strong case that the bottom's in. If we do break below, you're still thinking that 10 to 14 range is
I've
good?
got a short right now, and I have the profit taking at $14,000, $14,010.
And I would say
that's what I put it at.
Even if we break below 15,
just in case,
and even if we don't break below 14, it's another. Again, this would be another dramatic major event that had much less impact than all the previous ones. So
if it were to break 15, I could see it hitting 14 and bouncing right back up. That's why I put it $14,010. So, man, I forgot Gareth was on. I went like a few minutes over here.
Are you ready?
Yep. There is, man, I tell you what, I talk about people with bad haircuts a lot. Gareth, My favorite haircut in crypto. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Ben. Happy New Year, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's argue about the bottom. Let's go. You're saying May, right? You think a bottom in May? Is that what people are, that's the rumor.
Yeah, that's one possibility, right? That's one possibility that's going off history with Lehman Brothers and then comparing it to FTX. And again, the reason you can compare those is not because they're the same entities. It's because of the psychological factors that go into investors that are created by these type of events where you just get crushed. So it's one possibility. I'm actually short-term bullish on Bitcoin right now. Let me throw up my chart here. I think you guys will appreciate this. So really, if you look at this trend line here, we actually just broke above it. And I think, you were just talking about why isn't Bitcoin selling off with Silvergate today or some of these other negative headlines. And really the chart's telling us that you actually could have some upside here, which could take us maybe as high as this 18,300 to 18,400 level. So again, you have a little positive bias here. The bigger picture still remains. This is your FTX collapse, and we're still inside of that. So that is still net bearish over the midterm. But the short term is bullish right now for a potential pop up here.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see a pop up. I just think we're going to get at least some quicker volatile movement to the downside, even if it's only $200 or $300. Like that's kind of what I'm seeing on my indicators and my charts. I'm not like super thrilled about being in a short because to me, there's only so much profit you could make in one right now. Because I do think a rally is coming. But you kind of foresee, like you said earlier, a few different possibilities. What do you think about the possibility that the bottom was in? We said the bottom would be in after the midterm elections. We hit a new bottom during that time. It held through the contagion. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so for me, it's more just thinking to myself, all right, so Bitcoin is going through this transitional period and it doesn't have the Federal Reserve pumping liquidity into the system as support. So you have to take that into account. Now, looking at the charts itself, you may be right. There's always a possibility there's a bottom. I think in the near term, one of the things in the stock market that I always look for that signal bottoms is when price does not decline on negative news. And we're really not seeing that, right? So in the very least, that gives me a short-term bullish bias. On the longer side of things, it's just hard to believe that in the 4-year cycle, that this cycle without the Federal Reserve's help, meaning printing money, why would this cycle be only down, 70% or 75% versus previous cycles that have done 80 to 85%? So I'm still struggling with that. The chart still has bearishness to it. And I just don't think, bottoms in markets, whether it's 09 in the stock market, whether it's other cycles, there was this crazy amount of panic where people really gave up on Bitcoin. And maybe you're seeing this. You're more involved than I am in the crypto markets. But have you really seen people be like, oh, my God, this is so bad, I have to just walk away and just forget about crypto? I haven't seen that.
No. And I think, but here's the thing, and this is my theory on this. Okay. Number one, I think the macro doesn't affect Bitcoin as much as people think that it does. And we were really pushing that narrative the last 3 or 4 months because everybody was saying, horrible macro, it's the worst ever, and Bitcoin had not fallen as far as it had before. I also think that when you look at the insolvencies, it's like $8 billion worth of literal dollar for dollar Bitcoin, not leveraged Bitcoin. It's like $8 billion worth of Bitcoin, which is a big percentage of the actual one-to-one market cap that people can't sell right now. And who panic sells? The retail, right? The institutions sell to dump and manipulate. The retail sells because they panic. And all of those people on FTX probably would have panicked, not all, but a lot of them would have panic sold if they could have got their money out. That's why we saw it. We saw the bank run. So there's a lot frozen, right? There's another aspect of this that people aren't thinking about. This story has been so dramatic from Three Arrows Capital all the way to, or from, what was the first one? UST and Terra, all the way to FTX, now with Silvergate, Barry Silver, the whole thing. It's so interesting, and not to make light because people lost money, but it's kept the attention in crypto. And people are not getting bored and leaving like we've seen in the other cycles because like there's a rule with thumbnails or with titles, make it extreme positive or extreme negative. Because if it's neutral, people don't care. But if it's one way or the other, they care. And we're seeing the negative interest because it's so fascinating what's going on. And these stories keep developing. Everybody wants to like watching a car crash, like what's next? That's what people want to see. And so I think that's also had an effect on the crypto markets. We've seen it in our YouTube numbers.
Do you think that you're seeing like small investors buying in right now, or is it more like larger players that are accumulating?
I've had a lot of retail people that are not in crypto ask me if it's a good time. And so I think that Bitcoin specifically, right? Not the other altcoins. Like I've had people ask me about meme coins and stuff like that. But the people that are serious, they're only talking about Bitcoin. Of course, I throw in like, hey, Ethereum's got better tokenomics. But Bitcoin's been through so many cycles now, and they've heard this narrative that it's dead so many times. And people now understand that FTX is not Bitcoin. People understand that now. Most people that are at least interested enough to know it exists. And so I think that there's just more confidence it's going to come back, even if it does go down further. And I am seeing people are asking that question. A lot of people that have been kind of on the orbit of getting into crypto around me that know me, now they're asking like, is it a good time? And I think that's, definitely a good sign. And those people that didn't get wrecked, those people didn't get wrecked in the last cycle. The people that got wrecked, they're probably a little further away.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm right there with you. Like as an investor, I'm very cognizant of the fact that there may not be a new low, and so I've accumulated a little bit of a hodl position in Bitcoin in this lower range, in this 17-ish thousand range. But I'm also leaving a lot of dry powder just in case, right? I don't want to get caught with the pants down, the proverbial pants down, right? So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think at this stage, we've seen a majority of the downside in Bitcoin, 69,000 to 16 and change. I mean, it can only go 16 and 8 more to the downside. So you're closer to the bottom, and it does make sense to kind of put a little bit away right now.
Now, I want to get your opinion on this. I've talked a lot during this segment. You asked me questions. I don't know how that worked. But I never turned down a chance to talk. I want to get your opinion on some other things. FOMC, the meetings. What do you think we're going to see next year?
So I think the Fed won't cut rates next year. I think yesterday the minutes came out. They basically were very clear on that. I think they're so concerned about what happened in the 1970s where the Fed actually started to cut rates too early and then inflation roared back. And so you have this real big narrative now where they have to get this under control. It's even more important than the overall economy. So I think they won't cut. I do think in the first quarter they will stop hiking, though. My guess is you have another 25 or 50 basis points, get us to around that 5% level on the Fed funds rate. And then I do think they'll stop. And I think the market will take that as a bullish sign in the short term, but then we'll slowly realize that as we slip into recession, they're not going to rush to the rescue of the markets. And I think that's going to be, at least for the stock market, that's going to be a shocker. I think for crypto, it may give crypto an opening to become even more mainstream as people say, okay, stocks are going down, but what other assets maybe do protect my capital?
Yeah, I think that's great. And if you look at this idea of a March rally, I think that kind of lines up also with, looking at the dates of the meetings and when we could potentially see either the top of the interest rates or the pivot. I'm very fascinated why, like on the last several pivots or traditionally with pivots, there's more downside. Maybe it's just because of recession, but I think that people are paying more attention now. And I think a lot of that could potentially already be baked in. People have never been this interested in interest rates. This is the most interested people have been in interest rates, in my opinion. So now I want to get your opinion on this. Everything you're saying makes sense, okay? And I also tend to agree with what you're saying. Michael Burry had a tweet a couple days ago where he said that he actually sees the inflation, we get a big drop, maybe even going negative or something, he said, by the middle of the year, and then they're going to turn the money printer back on, and we're going to have a short period of time, I don't know what short is, maybe a few years where things are good, then inflation will spike again, and we'll go through the same thing. What do you think? He's the first person I've heard say, like, they may turn the money printer back on this year. Like, that's unfathomable to me.
Yeah, so I do think they will turn it back on. I don't necessarily know about in this year. For them to turn it back on this year, I think you'd have to have massive unemployment surge, right? So, if it's at 4% unemployment, they're not going to do that. Now, if you spike to 10 or 12%, then you better believe that they probably will turn it back on. So I think it's a matter of, what's the greater evil here? If inflation's 2% and unemployment jumps, they'll turn it on. If inflation is 8% or 6% and unemployment goes to 5%, they're not turning it on yet.
Right.
So I think it's a matter of what the economic conditions kind of unveil. But I do agree that I think we're now in this longer pattern of the Fed coming to the rescue at really bad points in the economic cycle. And then inflation roars back and they have to back off really, really quickly. And I think this is where, again, not only gold is a key asset, but also Bitcoin really has, like, the next cycle in Bitcoin to me is the institutional cycle. It's the institutional cycle where there's transparency finally, and institutions finally say, okay, this is the time to get involved in this stuff big time.
Yeah, I think, so I would argue, I'd push back against that a little bit. I would argue that the last bull run was the bull run of institutions. But I like what you said, though, because you said full transparency. 2017, CME or CBOE, I can't remember which one did it first. They launched futures contracts on Bitcoin. They don't even do them anymore. They're out of the business now, right? That was the exact top of the market for Bitcoin, okay? Over the next 2 years, 50 of the top 100 Bitcoin addresses were created during that time. The only people who have that much money are institutions and hedge funds. Countries do as well, but I'll get to that in a second. The fact is, they were here during this whole bull run. I think that's probably why we saw the exit liquidity second pump, and we didn't get to the numbers because, like I said, you saw what FTX was doing. They were over leveraging. They were playing with the market. They were shorting it on the way down.
They were the ones that wrecked it because they were doing institutional games and doing everything with leverage.
100%. And so I would say we've already seen it, but it wasn't transparent. I think the next bull run, you're right, we'll see more get into Ethereum and more be transparent because their game is up. I think that what we're going to see is countries and nations and, I don't know, maybe city treasuries, who knows, corporations, but mainly countries kind of wargaming with crypto, getting in, not being transparent. And so that could be the thing that could cause the next rally because they're not going to want to say what they're doing because in a lot of ways it is a war game, especially with Russia and the United States and China and all that stuff. So that's my thought there. Now, do you have any other charts? Anything interesting you want to show us?
Let's take a look at a couple others here, right? So here's the Bitcoin chart, and again, but if we go to the Ethereum chart, let me bring that up. Ethereum actually just took out. So this downsloping trend line was actually taken out prior to Bitcoin breaking above it. So you could almost argue that Ethereum might be leading the charge here. And the key here is look at this little consolidation high. Notice how Ethereum is now above that. So Ethereum does not have a lot of resistance until it gets up to about 1350. And again, for me, that's one of those scenarios where the path of least resistance is up on this chart. I think another really interesting chart to look at is this Cardano chart. Now, Cardano is into resistance here. You can see this area right here. But if you zoom out, look at this low end trend line, how every time it hits this trend line, you're getting some sort of bounce. And we just came off of that right here, and we're now pushing higher. So again, for me, Cardano's an interesting play. There's a lot of cryptos out there that make a lot of sense. And I would just say this too, Solana, while it's been hated on, you have to admit—
I'm the chief hater. It's me, Gareth. It's me, Gareth. I'm the chief hater. It's me.
All right. Well, either way, let me just throw this out, is that the resurgence in Solana builds confidence in the market, right? In the overall crypto, because there was a lot of rumors that this was going to go to zero, and it still could. But the resurgence where it goes from $8 to 14 here and now trading at 13, it makes investors say, wait a minute, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. And I think that, again, helps this crypto bullish cycle, at least mini cycle, I should say, kind of rip to the upside maybe and gain a little traction over the next couple of weeks. The other thing I would just mention, again, one of the reasons why you could get a short-term pop in Bitcoin, tax loss selling. I don't know how much it impacts crypto, but once December 31st came and went, anyone who was trying to offset early year gains in 2022, that was it. That was your chance to sell. So it takes a lot of the potential sellers out of the market early in January. It's called the January effect, and I do it in stocks all the time, where there's this kind of pump back where you get these bounce backs in stocks, and it does look like it might be happening in crypto.
Yeah, I think the next things we have to look forward to are Chinese New Year, tax day, and Bitcoin to 33K by July. Oh, wait, sorry. That was 2018. Never mind. Yeah. The consensus pump. I don't know. Well, Gareth, this has been awesome. Always love having you on the show. It's been a while since we've talked. Somebody said in the chat that they thought that you would destroy me in a fight. I don't know if that's true, but Gareth is much taller than I thought he would be in real life. How tall are you, Gareth?
Ben's much more built than I thought he is in real life. He's I wouldn't mess with him.
Yeah. How tall are you, Gareth? Are you 6'2"?
5'11".
You're 5'11". I thought you were taller. Why did I think you? It's because of the man bun on the top. It was sticking up. It was sticking up. and it gave you a couple extra inches if you could only use that in every area of life. Okay, so Gareth, great having you on. Got to get you back on down the road or next time we have you scheduled. Can't wait to see you again. Thanks for all your input.
Thank you so much, Ben.
And we got his channel, by the way, in the chat. Go subscribe to his channel. Okay. God, I could talk to Gareth forever.
Yeah, I like Gareth.
Especially when I haven't talked to him for a long time. All right, there we go. Man, he had a lot of we didn't even really show a lot of charts. At the end, I was like, show some charts.
Yeah. Because
he was talking about some really high level stuff there and some very interesting viewpoints. You see, he comes from the stock world. He's not a bad stock guy. Okay. We hate a lot of those guys.
Well, I think
like Gareth.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as we're seeing more convergence of the crypto and stock worlds together, getting some perspective like that is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah,
I like Gareth
absolutely. And he's got a lot more experience in the market than I have.
And we're seeing those falling wedges, which again, everybody, that is we talked on Basement yesterday. It sounds bearish when you say falling wedge. Yeah. It's really a bullish pattern, and we're seeing it set up over and over.
Or bearish, or a bullish pennant, right? Isn't that like going down?
Yeah.
Or a bullish, whatever it is, wedge, divergence, not divergence. That's not the right word. But it's like you're looking at the chart going up and it's bearish,
right? Just like,
or you're looking at it going down and it's bullish on the inverse. Right. Maybe one day I'll learn the patterns. Do you think I ever will?
But maybe some of them.
Maybe we should have Frank teach them to me on his channel.
Or Kelly on the Academy.
If you can teach me, who's been doing loose TA and crypto trading for years and still has not found it super important to understand those different patterns, man, if you can teach it to me, you can teach it to anybody. Absolutely. Ben, can you explain why it's bad if BlackRock controls Bitcoin?
Can they keep the
price? Can they keep the price from reaching all-time highs? Should we even bother buying Bitcoin? Guys, they're trying to get majorly into the Bitcoin mining game. That will give them access to printing their own Bitcoin in a sense, right? Just like everybody else is doing. But if they're able, did you see the story yesterday about Celsius?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, Core Scientific said, nah, we want to get Celsius out of here. Maybe we can start mining on our own. BlackRock had just given them a $17 million investment.
Yep.
BlackRock is coming. They're not going to control Bitcoin. They're going to have a bigger voice, bigger, what's the word I'm looking for? Not persuasion.
Influence.
Bigger influence on what happens, not necessarily on with the chain, but in the mining world, they're going to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they added
climate change stuff. They're going to.
They added it to their accumulation fund for 2023 Bitcoin. Yeah. Just yesterday they announced that.
Should be more scared about their role in USDC.
Yeah.
That's where you should really be scared. So look, guys, there are things that are technically possibilities. A 51% attack on Bitcoin is technically possible. Miners getting consensus and deciding to change Bitcoin from proof of work to proof of stake, it is technically possible, okay? Changing the supply from 21 million with consensus, it's possible. They're all virtually impossible. It's such a small percentage chance that any of that would happen, at least in our lifetimes with the supply, that it's almost not worth mentioning, but people need to understand that just like we thought FTX would never collapse, right? Nobody saw that coming. There are things that could happen, but Bitcoin by far is the safest thing out there. And I would certainly not say, as we're seeing these people come into the space, that doesn't mean you should not buy Bitcoin. No. Not financial advice. You got to learn the difference between what is possible on the Bitcoin network and what's highly, highly, highly probable or probable. We're going to see a rejection of BlackRock at some point from the Bitcoin.
They're definitely, I mean, that's BlackRock pretty much owns Core Scientific now. Yeah. They own Silvergate. They're involved in this and they're not going away.
I'm the definition of retail. It's from Noah Erickson, Super Chat. I've accumulated 1.2 Bitcoin over the last year. I refuse to miss out again.
Love that.
Love that. Man, that's the message right there. We love it. Was there another Super Chat? What was that, $10?
Yeah.
Thoughts on Crow saving worth it to hodl on? Here's what I'll say. He says, thanks for being for the people, Bennett family. Thank you, blue collar guy. I'm out on exchange tokens right now. Just because the SEC has now laid the precedent that if FTT is a security, which they're saying that it is, it's still got to go to trial, right? That's a strong possibility. They're going to use that to start with other exchange tokens that exchanges created and call those securities too. We know they want to call everything securities, but they've already done it with FTT. Now it's precedent for them to go after that niche. So that's why, like, nothing personal against, I use crypto.com. I used it yesterday, right? I use the app a good bit. I use my crypto.com card. As far as accumulating CRO or BNB right now, I'm kind of taking a hands-off approach. That could change, but that's where I'm at now. Was there another super chat?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Big move is brewing for Bitcoin as volatility hits historic lows. Gareth saying he thinks it might be up. I think what we're going to see, honestly, I think we're going to see some volatility to the downside tomorrow. Friday's not going to be as bad as people think it's going to be. Tomorrow, and that might be when we have the bullish move. Tomorrow's a buy the rumor, sell the news day. Friday, the news comes out.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Is it Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Holy crap. I thought it was Wednesday the entire day. I've said several times in 2 days, and no one corrected me. Where are y'all at on my days of the week? Golly.
But I tend to agree with that.
Tomorrow, then. So today, okay, well, then hopefully tonight or maybe early morning tomorrow, we might see that volatility to the downside and then bounce up as the news comes out tomorrow. So, dang, I thought we had 2 days.
That's why it's heating up right now.
Yeah.
That's why all the movement's happening today.
Wow. Well, Monday was not a work day for everybody. That's why it's throwing me off.
Yeah.
It was just us here. Bitcoin market has become extremely boring for traders over the past few weeks. Volatility has fallen to historically low levels, but this could mean that a major move is imminent in the near future. This is the, let's see, the Bitcoin dollar chart here. Down here is the historic volatility. You guys can see we are at a flat line. A big move is certainly coming at some point. Ryan Douglas will save that for Q&A at the end. It's a good question. Bitcoin volatility index from BitMEX, a moving average for the last 7 days, paints a similar picture. Something's going to happen soon. If it's to the upside, I just do not see this thing going back below 15. It could. Black swan, who knows? Maybe we're just completely wrong about everything we think about Bitcoin. But in my opinion, if we have a major move like back up to 18, 19, 20, it'll be hard to get down to 15. If Contagion couldn't take it below 15 from 18, I don't see anything that can, to be honest with you. Prior to the start of the bull run, let's see, they hit 69,000. The volatility has been slowly moving down again. This here is volume on Binance. You can see a big spike the other day. So there you go. Ethereum's prospects are better than Bitcoin's for the next 12 months. That's what we told. I told you that on my predictions video for 2023. The analyst who goes by the name Goddess Sufar suggests that ETH might be a better crypto. Man, great thing they take this guy, and this is the guy we're judging this whole article on. I have no idea who this guy is. Is he a big trader?
I have no idea.
No, they don't even link. Oh, do they link to him? They do link to him, but it's hidden. That's sneaky. Let's see. Is he on Twitter? I've never heard of this guy, to be honest with you. Maybe I should. Maybe I should know who he is. So he's on Crypto Quant there making a post. So maybe he's somebody. I just never heard of him. Ethereum has more use cases, NFTs, dApps, DeFi, according to Gudusuvar's assessment. The demand from these multiple segments has the potential to make ETH more useful. I would just say the tokenomics for the next 10 years, in my opinion, are better than Bitcoin's. The inflation rate of Ethereum is now lower than the emission rate for Bitcoin. There you go, Corey. Than the emission rate for Bitcoin over the next 10 years. So after that, then the Ethereum inflation rate should be higher than Bitcoin's. But for the next 10 years, there's going to be less percentage of Ethereum coming into the circulating supply than Bitcoin. So that's a strong play, in my opinion. That makes it more like digital gold itself, gives institutions more reason to get in it. And as the network spikes in activity, that number can actually go down for the inflation rate for Ethereum. Saying BlackRock and other financial giants can't team up and take over the Bitcoin network is like saying they can't take over corporate media, elections, narratives, etc. That's why I got to say it's a possibility.
Yeah. It's plausible, but here's the difference. It's a lot easier to buy media, elections, and corporate people than it is to buy Bitcoin OGs.
And a decentralized network with, someone's, what they say, 140,000 nodes.
Maybe? That's what I'm saying is that there's this movement started
so decentralized.
It started out of a separation of money from banks, and a lot of the big money in here that you'd have to be buying off to do that don't want to see that happen whatsoever. So now again, money can change a lot of things. And
CBDC, we don't know how that's going to factor into what they're trying to do. So We do know it's coming. It's definitely coming. How much their focus is going to be on that compared to bringing down Bitcoin, because in a sense, they're not competitors. If Bitcoin's digital gold and a stable coin is, something that people are going to be spending as a CBDC, that makes them not really necessarily competitors.
Right.
However, it just strengthens the use case of Bitcoin to go back to the original utility of electronic peer-to-peer currency.
Code of Harry says it's Keynesian versus Austrian economics. Absolutely. And I'd also say it's...
Good day, mate.
It's... to what you were just saying, they don't need, like, it's all about incentives, right? Like BlackRock, and they don't need to stop Bitcoin. They just need to hold a lot of it. And then they need to control the CBDCs, and that's where they'll get, what they really want.
Yeah, the Bitcoin mining space is something to watch with these companies, though.
Yeah.
Because they can literally buy mining farms, buy companies out. A lot of these companies are struggling. They can come in and buy the public companies out and stuff like that. So that's something to watch in the next year. Miners capitulating in the past has been kind of the bottom of the market, but are they really capitulating if they're not getting turned off because someone's taking them over?
Right.
Something to think about. ETH's open interest has been growing for more than 2 weeks now, suggesting the demand in the derivatives market is recovering. Same time, long liquidations have tanked. Hey, I've been trading in the derivatives market myself. Our chart section sponsored by BitGet. You put the link up in the chat here. I'm not logged in right now, so I can't show you, but I am in a short right now. I'm about break even on it. We're going to see what happens. I do think, like I said, we're going to get that volatility to the downside before we get a move up. Right now, I've been in the short for like 2 days, I think, and 36 hours, and I'm like break even.
It's not moving,
I've had 5% profit I could have taken. I've had major losses I could have taken, and I just moved my stop loss a little bit, and luckily it didn't get wicked out. But anyways, I just dumped $10 right there. Look, it's dumping right now, actually. So I think right now for me, shorting is the move, and I'm having a lot of success trading. We actually talked to BitGet this morning about maybe trying to show some more analytics that can show the success of the trades. Bitcoin retail investor interest has become key to its growth. Where are the whales? We looked at Sandimit's story yesterday about how we're seeing in the 1 to 10 Bitcoin range, those addresses growing. But what about the whales? Bitcoin witnessed a massive spike in interest from retail investors. The king, here we go. The king coin. Have you heard it called that?
Not very often. I don't know. Maybe once or twice.
So BlackRock wants to control Bitcoin to dip the price. No, I don't. No.
They want to
own
own
I think they want as much investment as possible.
Right. They want to hold
when
it.
it goes up.
Think of Bitcoin as gold and CBDCs as control. They want to hold the value and control the population.
Which was affected by the bear market, could be impacted positively by the renewed interest from retail investors, of what Gareth and I were talking about. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. Before December 14th, most positions taken against Bitcoin were short positions. However, after that, there was a spike observed in trader sentiment, and a large number of traders went long on Bitcoin. This trend continued to go on. I've been about 50-50. I think I've been about 50-50 shorting and long over the last few weeks.
And I think that's what the market was. Like, it was heavy short before, and when more people went long, it went back to about 50-50.
Well, when I felt like there was probably at least, some semblance of a bottom, it gave me a lot more confidence to kind of look like, okay, if I get back into trading, if I pick my spots right, we could, get a really good position at some point, and the price doesn't return back down there, and we could have a long-term trade open for a while. Martini guy had one from $3,200 in the last bear market, and the bottom of that market, and he wrote it up, and I think they forced him to close it at some point because it was like too much money or something, or it was a fluke or a glitch or whatever. He held it all the way to like freaking 50K or something. Super chat, yellow, up. What was it? Would you consider offering some sort of fan crypto review? I've never seen a crypto fan like has. Maybe the Ripple logo could. I know you're not a financial advisor, but I'd totally pay you to check my crypto holdings and get your opinion. No, I'm absolutely not doing that. I don't do consulting.
What I would say there, if you want feedback and jump in the BitLab Academy Discord, there's plenty of people in there that would give you, feedback on your positions. Or you can just drop them in here and we'll just loosely say, what we think.
Do you think AVAX will go up from an AVAX guy with an AVAX logo? I've already stated my position. Yeah, we'll go up. I'm not a fan of Avalanche. Kelly Kellen, follow the BitLab Academy YouTube channel. Come here to BitBoy Crypto on YouTube. Scroll down to the channels. Well, that's not right. Let me go to home. Right. And then scroll down to channels. And then here we got the BitLab Academy. Just started this YouTube channel. 473 subscribers. Make sure you guys click subscribe there. Of course, we got Frankie Candles, Around the Blockchain, new channel for it. Almost 10K subs. Wow. Nice. Blockchain Basement. It's my kids' YouTube channel. Hit Network. This is where we're doing 24/7 crypto streaming. So you guys can check all those out. But make sure to support the new BitLab Academy YouTube channel. God, all these stories are so interesting today.
It is, yeah.
Is that bullish?
I think so. I think we're at a turning point right here. This is what the bottom feels like.
Can Bitcoin detect stupid people?
Oh,
this book author and mathematician proves it because he's stupid. There we go. The answer is yes. Private payroll growth surged by 235,000 in December, well above estimate ADP reports.
That's interesting.
Yeah, this is interesting. Private payrolls rose by 235,000 this month, well ahead. Look how much it crushed the projection.
Double, almost. Not quite, but
well, maybe they were factoring in something to do with seasonal jobs. I don't know. Very, very interesting here. The big job surprise comes despite the Federal Reserve's attempt to slow a sizzling jobs market. They're trying to crush the jobs market because you got to crush the jobs market in order to be, heading the other way in a recession. Highest level in 40 years. Job gains were evenly distributed. Small and medium-sized businesses, which together added 386,000 workers. Crypto for Life says, hey, Ben, thank you for a big motivation for me starting my Crypto for Life YouTube channel. Look forward to having you on my show sometime in the future. Congratulations. Oh, he said, I'll have you on my show one day. Congratulations. Is that how he meant it?
No, congratulations.
I know what he meant. On all your success and Happy New Year, my friend. Thank you so much for that super chat. Appreciate all the support. Good luck to you. Hope one day you pass me. All right. And these stories are so weird to cover because they're good news for people getting jobs.
Right.
But they're bad for the economy.
Right.
We talk about this a lot. The ADP report comes a day after the Department of Labor's count, a growth of 200,000 in non-farm jobs. The way they niche these is very interesting. Yet 40% of jobs are in transportation. Did you know that? There's 40%. That's the number somebody told me. It's a very high number regardless of whatever it is. You just don't think about how much of jobs is driving, or carrying
certain industries.
loads.
Yeah, like the service industry, obviously huge percentage.
Yeah, and Uber Eats, I guess you consider that a transportation job, probably.
Yeah,
it's a cart, all that. Okay, non-farm payrolls rose by 263,000. Man, really harvesting there, which was a far greater than the ADP total. So there you go. Not great for the economy. And not only that, but it was surprising, shocking numbers that could affect what the Fed's going to do in the next meeting. So Alan Greenspan says U.S. recession is likely. Alan Greenspan, famously known for being the most wrong person in history about the housing crash, now says recession is likely. Can you say it's likely anymore? I just don't think that's a good take. I think we're in it.
Yeah, we've been in it.
Put a poll up. Are we in the United States in a recession? I just want to get the general climate of our audience. Because I would say that we are. Just look around, read the tea leaves. It doesn't mean it's going to be a 2008 housing crash, right? Kind of market.
Definitely not.
Yeah. His views are particularly important. Not only did Greenspan serve 5 terms as Fed chair under 4 different presidents, man, he's another Fauci. But he was the last chair to successfully navigate a soft landing in 1994. In the 12 months that followed February 1994, Greenspan nearly doubled interest rates to 6%, managed to keep the economy steady, avoiding recession. I guess those were in those great Clinton economy years, what people know it as.
Yeah.
But of course, people that don't like him would tell you they weren't good times. But I remember as a kid,
economy was definitely good times. I mean,
people that really hate him will say, well, it's not actually true, But I mean, I think the stats, look, I'm not a Bill Clinton fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the very least, I mean, you could just say it wasn't his doing, it was the internet, the internet boom.
1992 to 2000. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Second term, right in the middle of that. What's super chat above that? Was there one? How much would you invest in ADA, Bitcoin, and ETH to turn into $1 million next bull run? $3 million. Right, go down. Look, if you can get 100K, if you can get 50K in each of those, you're going to be doing really great probably. But, on the downside, what's your best bet if you don't have a ton of money? and you get lucky, you know, I don't know, maybe, you know, $15,000 in each, somewhere around there. Maybe a 25K portfolio between the three could get you there, but that's a long shot, not guaranteed. Can you get Eric Crown on for TA? We've had him on before. He talks super fast, but he has some deep TA knowledge. Newsletter for Pluto Alliance will be here soon. Wahoo! Yep, we're going to be getting that going here soon. So thank you for your support. Oh, let's see. All right, Greenspan, done with that. He's like the weirdest looking. He's like the weirdest looking guy since Gary Gensler, or Gary Gensler is the weirdest looking guy since Alan Greenspan. Amazon job cuts increased to 18,000. Yeah, this was big yesterday.
Yeah.
The average turnover for Amazon's 150%, which means that they had to hire 150 people for every 100 jobs that they have available per year. They're going to burn through all of their, you know, native workers, people that live within their buildings, their factories and warehouses. They're going to burn through all those. They're going to be forced to do AI. Now they cut 18,000 and might have been some of the people that would have stayed, you know, to help with some of that turnover. Company announced in November job cuts would begin. At that time, the Wall Street Journal reported the number would involve 10,000. Man, they increased that by 80%. So majority will impact companies' brick and mortar stores. Did you know they have these? It looks like vegan food to me.
I mean, I wonder if that counts Whole Foods.
What's that?
I wonder if that counts Whole Foods. They own Whole Foods. And that, you know, I bet that's what that is.
It was the last paragraph, actually. It says Amazon Go and Amazon Fresh.
Oh, okay.
So Amazon Go. What is Amazon Go?
Like, I don't know. Delivery service, maybe? Like Instacart for Amazon?
Help. Amazon Go? Is that like where you have your phone and you go out to a park and you try to find Amazon packages with, what do they call it? Augmented reality?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
You got it.
What is this? Amazon Go. Chain of convenience stores in the US and the UK.
Can you see if this is true? Genesis lays off 30% of staff. That must have just happened.
Well, they just said Silvergate did 40%.
Yeah.
So who is that again? Say it again.
Genesis.
Genesis.
That's DCG. Silvergate isn't.
Lays off. Genesis is owned by DCG, but they're technically separate entities, right?
Yeah. It's mostly on the biggest shareholders of Silvergate is BlackRock and Vanguard.
Yeah.
Not DCG.
Wow. Okay. Employees. Let's see what that story is. 20%, it says. Now, what day is that? Is this new? 7 minutes ago. 30%. Absolutely. That was a previous story at the top. Wow. Second round. So they let go at 20% earlier of 260. Mm-hmm. So that would be 52 people they laid off. That would put them at 208 employees. Now they laid off 30%. So that would be like 65 more people that got let go. So you're looking now at 260 person company is now down to 140 people, I think, if my math is correct there. Somewhere thereabouts. So yeah, very interesting. Maybe 130 to 140. Silvergate in trouble. Crypto bank cut staff by 40% amid a 68% decline in crypto deposits. Man, waiting out for the Bitcoin bull run sure didn't work for these folks. According to a Thursday report by the Wall Street Journal, a dramatic collapse of FTX sparked a run on Silvergate, forcing the bank to sell assets at a steep discount in a bid to cover around $8.1 billion in user withdrawals. The crypto bank liquidated $5.2 billion of debt securities it was holding on its balance sheet in a bid to meet user withdrawals. Consequently, it incurred a $718 million loss, which reportedly exceeds the bank's profits since at least 2013.
By far. So wiped them out, basically.
Wow.
Because look, they bank people like FTX, like Alameda, like Genesis, like Three Arrows Capital. So they were, what do you think they were doing as they were going insolvent? They were withdrawing all of their money to cover all of their things. So then all of a sudden Silvergate didn't have any deposits that was earning them interest anymore. And now they're, but don't get it confused. They are isolated. They're a publicly traded company, that regulated. They're not as
well. Look at this though. The crypto bank's also under investigation for possibly facilitating illicit transactions.
Yeah.
On December 6th, 3 U.S. senators wrote a letter to Silvergate to probe the bank's involvement in customer losses as the FTX exchange collapsed. Now, is that posturing, or are they going to actually?
Because basically, there's no way Silvergate didn't know that FTX customer funds were getting deposited into their bank.
So here's the thing, though. Like you said, this is a regulated bank in the United States. It's a crypto bank, right? Which, once again, these are traditional institutions disguised as crypto companies. They're used to operating this way.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to, if they have a bank run, having to go liquidate other assets because they don't have the money. That's the way that banks work. The entire traditional finance system is built on fake money, IOUs, and derivatives. And no, you can't pay 450,000 IOUs for a Lamborghini. That does not work. It's almost like real money. But the fact is, they're not getting flack for doing the same thing that other exchanges. The difference is they had the assets that they could liquidate. But why do you have all your customer funds in all these different places? Why are we not asking that question with banks? Why is the business model with banks, they're allowed to use our customer funds and everybody's just great with it for 0.01% interest? And crypto companies can't do the same thing. Now, it's a lack of regulation that keeps crypto companies from being able to operate that way. That's why Sam was trying to get the centralized regulation through so they could get that regulated and they could actually do that and it not be against the law like banks do. When are we going to wake up to this freaking banking system? Is it ever going to happen?
I don't know. If it hasn't happened yet, I'm not sure. Because if they go through and push this regulation through and start doing the same thing with these type of assets, like, that's not your keys, not your coins, guys. That's why we say it all the time.
Celsius earn assets belong to bankrupt crypto lender. Judge rules. Oh, there's Alex. Man, look at that. Who's he looking at right there, you think? SBF has to be. Or maybe Caroline. I don't know. Let's see here. No highlights on this one, I don't think. So I got to come up with my own story here, which is fine. Federal judge ruled the customers of Celsius interest-bearing earned product had turned over control of their assets to the bankrupt crypto lender. Judge Martin Glenn said in a court order Wednesday that Celsius's terms of service made it clear it took possession of crypto assets deposited into its earned product, dealing a blow to some customers hoping to recoup their funds from the company. Celsius held around $4.2 billion in various cryptocurrencies in its earned product as of July 2022, 23 million of that being in stablecoins. And I know when I talked to Rebecca, who went down to the Bahamas with us, she has been following, she's in all the Celsius Telegram groups. Like, she follows this way more than I do. That's the only place that she had her money and she lost her life savings for $1.4 million. This is a normal lady. Like, she's probably around my mom's age. I don't know how old she is, right? But you're talking about somebody who's worked her entire life and that was her retirement. And she put in crypto, made a bunch of money, and it's locked up. And now she doesn't have anything. She had it all locked up on there. And it's a very sad situation when you think about the real people that were affected by this. We obviously lost a ton of money on there, and it has hurt us tremendously as a company and, as a channel here. We were stupid. We were using it like a bank account. Learn that lesson. But I care more about the money that the person lost, and that's all that they had. We at least have revenue sources and other, stuff that, where we have money. But a lot of these people didn't. And so she's been following along so closely, and she was hoping that this ruling right here would go the other way, that would say that the customers actually own the funds, not Celsius.
Yeah.
In my opinion, now that we have the ruling out, don't shoot the messenger. I assumed it was theirs.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's kind of that was my reaction too.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of freaking out about this. I was like, didn't we all already know this? Like, because we're still creditors. It says there, like, it's deemed it was Celsius assets, and then they still owe the money back as creditors. But now they know, okay, this establishes who owns the assets, so how we can settle this. They can actually move forward with settling it now. They couldn't do anything until that was decided. So it didn't surprise me at all.
And shout out to Rebecca. We love Rebecca. She might be in the chat today. So she's helping us with our lawsuit in the Bahamas. By the way, the other night we talked about Peter Maynard. That's the brother of Allison Maynard, right? That is the lawyer for, Allison Maynard is the lawyer for SBF. Peter Maynard is the lawyer for FTX US. I did not mention this. We talked about it yesterday, how in the Bahamas they were really sharing the story when we covered this. Lincoln filled me in on this. I missed this of the whole thing. Okay. Here's where the real conflict of interest comes in. all of the real estate, FTX property, all of the real estate that's held in the Bahamas that's off the bankruptcy, it's the Clementine Maynard law firm that's in charge of all that. And it's like, that's weird. If you're in charge of all the real estate in the Bahamas and your company's also representing Sam and family members, not the same company actually, family members representing Sam and FTX who have vested interest in that property to keep it off the books to pay people back, that's a huge conflict of interest. And it is very, very concerning. FTX US, did you not do your homework? Did you not realize that they were related and what a conflict that was going to create? And I think maybe there might be some, legal repercussions for that, even because it is very, very, very.
This is good.
Very bad and very deep. That ruling on Celsius makes me super bullish on Coinbase stock. They can use customer funds with this precedent.
Isn't that an interesting take?
Only for their earn program, though. Only for their earn program.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How much is in the Coinbase
I have
earn
no
program?
idea. We know there was $1 billion in Geminis, and they're way smaller than Coinbase.
Let's see here.
That's really interesting. I didn't take that away from this. And that might explain more as to why we're seeing Coinbase rally and some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I want to get this story right.
Start using customer funds on.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is the story. I really want to explain this because it's a big deal and it has to do with our lawsuit. And I really wanted to show this to people because I don't think I explained it properly there. FTX's Bahamas properties caught in Chapter 11's net. FTX Bahamian real estate purchases, which are worth a collective $300 million at least, were made through a company currently covered by U.S. Chapter 11 proceedings rather than Bahamian provisional liquidators. Let's see. This potentially sets the stage for a further battle between the Supreme Court appointed joint provisional liquidators for FTX Digital Markets, the Bahamian subsidiary, and John Ray, the newly appointed chief executive of FTX for Chapter 11. Let's see. One Bahamian KC, speaking on condition of anonymity, said as a Bahamian incorporated company holding Bahamian real estate assets, FTX property holdings restructuring and potentially winding up should technically take place in the Bahamas rather than led by the Delaware Bankruptcy Court. Okay. And I want to show you guys here where it says Clementine Maynard. Here it is. FTX property holdings address was given as the GK Simonette building on Shirley Street in Nassau. This building is home to the Clement Maynard and Company law firm, okay, which includes Allison Maynard Gibson KC. Her brother is Peter Maynard, who is in charge of FTX US, their representation. And here's the thing. What you have to understand is Clementine Maynard is in charge of potentially all of the real estate in the Bahamas that was owned by the FTX. The government is arguing there that since it's in the Bahamas, it will not be able to get part of Chapter 11, and they get to liquidate it. The government is trying to sell the $300 million worth of real estate in order to pad their own pockets. But there's a little more to it than that, because the law firm representing them and the liquidation is also related or has a person from that company that is representing Sam Bankman-Fried, and also now the brother is representing FTX US. They're working backroom deals to try to get this money liquidated in FTX and SBF, get part of it back, and keep it off of the bankruptcy. They're trying to screw you. The Bahamian government is trying to screw every person. They're trying to screw every retail investor that lost $1 on there. This is why I do not trust any of these liquidations, money coming to FTX, to ever see retail investor hands. Somebody's going to have to Robinhood out here and take from these people and give the money back, because these governments are not going to do it. So Gary Gensler is not going to pay you back before the SEC pays itself back for that BlockFi investment that's got to get clawed back. So just remember that.
Cars for Coin said terms and condition, or Coinbase terms and condition cover all customer funds in bankruptcy. So that we should dig into that.
Say it again.
He says their terms and condition cover all customer funds, not just earn program, like Celsius, because basically they use the terms and condition to determine. We'll have to dig into it,
but
more.
Not dollars on the accounts though, because those are FDIC insured.
No, not the dollars.
Not the dollars, but the crypto. That's right. Actually, you know what? I remember that story.
Yeah, we should dig into that.
I remember that story. We covered that where Coinbase said if they went bankrupt, everybody loses their money.
Yeah, we had.
And people were like, that would never happen. Coinbase could never go bankrupt. Ah, ha, 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 ha. That was before everything unfolded with all these other exchanges.
Yeah, well, now it's also now they've got a public stock that's manipulatable, and
I don't think it'll happen. Still, I think Coinbase is probably the safest.
Now they can go invest all the funds and make plenty of money, and
do what all the other ones are doing. You know, and so it's a kind of thing where.
Oh gosh.
It didn't look like that would ever come into play, and now you have to think about it as a possibility. It's wild how much things change in a few months.
That might be a good whiteboard video to break down the Celsius ruling and the impact on Coinbase and other exchanges.
That and 34 other videos.
Yeah, I know, right?
U.S. authorities to seize 460 million of Robinhood shares in FTX fraud case. This is really good news. U.S. prosecutors are moving to seize the $460 million worth of Robinhood Markets shares linked to Sam Bankman-Fried. The former chief executive officer, blah, blah, blah. We know who he is. Fast facts. The DOJ does not believe the shares were the property of a bankruptcy estate, and its ownership should be determined in a forfeiture proceeding, trying to make him liquidated. Bankman-Fried waiting trial. In May 2022, Gary Wang formed a holding company called Emergent Fidelity Technologies to purchase 56 million Robinhood shares, 546 million in loans from Alameda Research, which means that was your money. They bought Robinhood shares with your money. 3 parties, bankrupt crypto lender DeFi, FTX creditor, and Bankman-Fried have filed court actions and attempts to gain control of the shares.
Yeah, BlockFi, because BlockFi wants them too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I mean, BlockFi, your money is FTX users' money. Like, that's where this gets really conflict of interest. Because if just like with the SEC, like, they took that payment for BlockFi. That was FTX investors that were paying for all of that all along the way. So for a company that was invested in to kind of jump in front and say, we should be paid back first, I don't know how I feel about that.
They gave them,
it's kind of like blood money.
I think BlockFi gave FTX a loan on the Robinhood shares as collateral. That's why they feel like they have claim to it.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
So it's a loan there. It's not a...
Is it a loan? Because he still has the Robinhood shares. Sam owns
he
those.
used them as collateral to get a loan. So they gave him money based on those shares, and now it's gone, and they feel like they should be able to claim those shares.
Is this the same Robinhood shares that he tried to sell on that text message that got leaked? Or does he even have more of them that are in another account?
No, I think it's the same. So that sounds like very much like what he would do, sell the same shares 3 times.
But if he was using it as collateral with BlockFi, how does...
And then BlockFi went under, and then they were acquiring BlockFi.
Right.
And so that was going to solve that. It was going to solve that. And then now they're both under. And so BlockFi's like, well, we're a credit. It's just such a mess.
It is such a mess. It's hard to even comprehend what's going on with it. So there's a super chat. Star Atlas, I don't...
Oh, we're going to put this away.
Yeah.
90% of the audience says we're in a recession.
We're in a recession. When 89% of the people think we're in a recession, we are in a recession.
Yeah, we're probably almost
out of it. The government
is
trying... Just like we see with the mainstream media narratives, the government is trying to convince you that what you know is a fact is not true. And so now we get sneaky ways. Alan Greenspan, we might likely see a recession. Shut the front door. Like, we are in one, period. So,
been one for a year.
All right, let's see here. SBF trial would see ex-FTX legal boss stand as government witness. So this is really crazy here. Dan Friedberg, behind the ultimate bet scam, $40 million poker scam, never got in trouble. FTX's former regulatory chief, who's not been charged with a crime, unlike his colleagues, reportedly cooperated with U.S. prosecutors in their investigation of the fallen crypto exchange.
Well, he knows how to do it.
He does. He knows how to play the game. Friedberg left FTX on November 8th after Bankman-Fried made the company's liquidity known to employees. Employees who worked there between 2005 and 2008 were accused from ultimate bets, employing a software exploit called God Mode to swindle players out of millions. He was caught on tape, allegedly supporting the perpetrators, discussing how to cut down the amount of refunds owed. The firm no longer exists. He got in no trouble. He didn't lose his license. There was a fall guy for that. Mm-hmm. Sam knew he was behind that scam when he brought him on. And somehow, even though the buck stops with the compliance lawyer, he's literally in charge of making sure the exchange is in compliance, somehow has figured out a way to maybe avoid charges?
It's bizarre.
Now, I will say this. Okay, I will say this. There's a very interesting thread when you start understanding the connections between Dan Friedberg, Jean Chalopin, Moonstone Bank, Deltec Bank, Tether, their attorney Stuart Hoegner. Is it possible that Dan Friedberg is going to narc out Tether because he knows exactly their bank works with them?
Did you answer this?
Your thoughts on DOT now? I'm out on DOT completely. It's a personal reason. People will probably find out one day. But I won't support DOT or Gavin Wood. So it's a personal decision based on
your personal beliefs.
Yeah. It's bad stuff. People are going to find out at some point.
So here's an interesting take.
Nothing against the network. Yeah. Great, run it. I'm not telling get out of it. I'm just saying personally, that's my stance on it. We're probably not going to talk about DOT much on this channel anymore.
You throughout this whole thing, there's all these different narratives. SBF's a Fed.
They say I'm a Fed too.
Michelle Wong, Fong or whatever.
Yeah.
A Fed, all these theories of who's a Fed
Tiffany
through
Fong.
this. Yeah, whoever, right, whatever. Nobody's really thrown out the Dan Friedberg's a Fed theory.
Whoa.
And now we've got ultimate, he gets away unscathed with the ultimate bets thing. What happened after that? Regulation banning online poker in the United States. Heavy regulation came down after that scandal happened. We still don't have online poker in the United States because of a lot of that.
Can't play online poker here.
And then what happens after this FTX breakdown?
Yeah.
Massive regulation. Exactly what some of the big parties needed. So just a thought.
TJ Shed, now the creator of the Dan Friedberg is a Fed theory. And I tell you what, if you look at his name, where is it? I have his name right
here. He looks like somebody who was in a
Look at what is in his name. F E D.
Yeah.
And he might ask you, if you call him a Fed, he might say, R.I.? R.I.A. Fed? It's all in the name, just like Bankman.
Just that picture, looks like somebody who was in a CIA recruit program in 1974.
This guy has not had a photo taken of him since 1971.
There you go. There you go.
No, we got him on camera. He really does look this bad. We got him on camera admitting wrongdoing at FTX. So
yeah, TJ.
Now this
TJ's
is not what we have of him admitting wrongdoing on video for FTX and trying to get liquid to destroy evidence. That's Senate and Congress have that. We gave it to him. That's not even been made public. I don't know if the people investigating this have that yet. So we still haven't seen what they've done to the market manipulation and the project side of this, how it might affect things. But I'm telling you, he knows everything about Deltec Bank and he knows everything about Tether. So to me, something like that. Now I'm not saying I'm on record saying I don't think Tether's insolvent. It might be, who knows? But in the early days, there were definitely a lot of wrongdoings. There's definitely still a lot of connections to wrongdoings, regardless of whether they have the money or not. But if he's got information on some of that wrongdoing and maybe potentially money laundering and shell companies and things like that, he's a master of shell companies, that could be something to that level is the only thing I could see of him possibly having a plea deal that makes sense, because it's got to be something massive he's got, something huge on leverage that he's got. Maybe it's against the parents of Sam. Maybe he flipped on the parents, and maybe we'll see them get arrested. If we see them arrested soon, guarantee that comes from Dan. There's just not that many people involved in the individual FTX insolvency scam above Sam. Maybe his parents. Dan Friedberg is above him, in my opinion. So, and what leverage does he have on Sam? Because Caroline and Gary already flipped. So, this is a very confusing story. The deal that he got is, I retweeted it last night from Margaret Rosenfeld here. Says, I've been fielding, she's an attorney, says, I've been fielding a lot of questions about what a proffer agreement, this is what Dan got, a proffer agreement. What it is, after Reuters article about it said that's what he got. Proffers are ways that someone can cooperate with an investigation by offering info in exchange for some benefit. Typically, the benefit would be reduced charges or agreement for lower charges. Sometimes no charges at all, which I believe is rare. The Reuters article seems to indicate that no charges are expected in exchange for full cooperation. Defense attorneys sometimes come forward with a proffer strategy to convince the prosecutors not to bring charges. Why would a prosecutor agree to that? If a person had a minor role, if there are holes or gaps in the case that can be filled, if there are bigger fish, and the prosecutors can save time and resources by getting the info from a side player. The proffer agreement then grants the witness certain immunity. It may be limited or full. At the very least, use immunity, which means prosecution can't use the statements against the individual later. FTX attorney has a top criminal defense lawyer representing him. A top criminal defense lawyer. And it's Better Call Saul. So I expect that proffer agreement was heavily and well negotiated. For all my friends who are former prosecutors or criminal defense attorneys, please provide any more generic commentary. Here's what I'll say on this, is that this is very strange. There's something we don't see yet with this, I believe, for 100%. I have been inquiring about those bond signatories as well, by the way, for SBF. Haven't heard back yet. Trying to see if there's a paper trail to figure out who those people are. But yeah, that's really great information. Who would have thought when you got into crypto, you would almost be able to leave with a law degree? Yeah, I know more about the law than I ever dreamed I would know, and about legal proceedings and court cases and all this stuff. You know, a lot of criminals in crypto, I guess. You know, maybe what they say isn't always 100% incorrect with a lot of scammy stuff going on in crypto. We know it exists. It's not a gigantic percentage of the people, but some of the money, obviously, as we've seen, is controlled by scammers. Thoughts on DataDash and Ben Cowan calling for lower lows?
I mean, it's plausible. It's
sure, it's plausible. Everybody's got their theories. This is what I'll say. Everybody got their theories. I was certainly hoping that some of Benjamin's would be correct from the last bull run. Diminishing returns, he nailed that one. You know, so far, some of the things he said for this bull run or this bear market haven't happened yet. Higher Bitcoin dominance, as well as now he's, you know, potentially lower lows. DataDash, I love DataDash. He's a great guy. And I've learned a lot from him in the world of crypto and YouTube. Only talked to him a handful of times. But what I will say is he was very, very wrong about the top of Bitcoin well into this year. So everybody's got their theories. I said Bitcoin was going to 100K last year, and I was wrong, or 2 years ago. So the point is just take all this with a grain of salt. We're all out here doing our best and trying to give our best prediction of what's going to happen. Lower lows are possible. I don't think they're likely. That means I'm over 50% that the bottom is in, but it could go either way still. So there you go. It could go up or it could go down. Binance controlled 92% of Bitcoin spot trading volume at the end of 2022. I don't have time to get into that too much. XRP worth $600,000. XRP Army, throw the X up. You heard me on the Web3, I think Web3 Exposed, the name of the spaces I was on last night, with Books DAO, or
people call him just Books.
Books. It's Books. He's an awesome guy. Really enjoyed being on there with him last night. I talked about XRP and a lot of my viewpoints on it. So if you want to go check out that Twitter space, you can go see some of that. Really feel like I represented the XRP community well there. So now 600,000 of XRP is traded on a major exchange. Let's see what this is. Only hours after it was relisted on Bitmart. Bitmart, probably a tier 3 to tier 4, probably tier 4 exchange, to be honest with you. A major crypto exchange. It is a major one. Tier 4 is still pretty major. Trading volume has already reached and exceeded $600,000. Let's see. XRP was allowed to trade on Bitmart again after the exchange delisted it. So we're starting to see some feeling confident to put it back on. Such volumes put the exchange right from the start in the top 20 in terms of XRP because there's not a lot out there anymore. Pi Network was also, which Pi Network says it's IOUs, is not the real coin. A lot to support that. They also were listed on Bitmart this week. So that might be another time you heard Bitmart during this week. It was in regards to Pi Network. That said, activity on XRP Ledger is moderate, with the number of daily transactions holding steady at 1.2 million. Number of activated accounts is going down. Very interesting, because I actually opened up an account for XRPL, and that's where I got my crypto or my XPunk. I dropped my CryptoPunk, and now I just stand with the XRPL punks or XPunks. BitGerm, if Ripple gets a favorable ruling, would you be more bullish on XRP itself or strong XRPL projects? If XRPL, then which coins can outperform XRP? I have not dug super deep into coins on a lot of these networks because we just haven't, not just XRPL, but other ones as well. I know there's some coins on Cosmos that people are bullish on. I think maybe one or two we've looked at. Near Protocol is on.
Near had a huge pump.
Near's on Cosmos, right?
I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Or is it Secret that's on Cosmos? I do so many videos, information gets boggled in my head sometimes. But the fact is I'm sure there will be some great projects on XRPL. I love the XRPL NFT projects there. I really love right now. That's what I'm really looking at on XRPL right now is the NFT projects. No, we're trying to get it on Vimeo at some point. Would be really cool to have because we want the XRP community involved in anything that we are involved in as investor and advisor of that. And so for me personally, it's just not a direction we've gone. We've got too much to cover right now. But if somebody wants to do some research and put it out on Twitter or something, that would be great because I do think there is a potential there. Ripple SEC case, the real reason, named by Fox Business's Charles Gasparino. He said, journalist, blah, 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 has shared the autopsy of the SEC regulator's long-lasting case against blockchain giant Ripple. He's working on at the moment. Journalists stressed right now is particularly important to pay attention to the real reason why the SEC went at Ripple and is striving to beat it in court. Since the SEC recently accused the founder of battered FTX exchange SBF, blah, 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 blah.
And Near Protocol is its own protocol.
It's secret.
Yeah.
Secret. For some reason, I get those two confused.
Near and Secret, yeah.
I know they're totally different, but the chain they're on, for some reason, I just cannot straighten out in my brain.
But Near is its own chain, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Near is its own chain. Yeah. We just covered it. Is it today the video is coming out?
I don't know.
It is. I recorded that video like 3 weeks ago, just so you know. But we like Near. We think it's got, definitely some potential. But Secret is the one that is on there. You know why I have a hard time? Because they both got hot at like the exact same time in the bull run. And they were two projects that we wanted to cover and we never really got into them. And I don't think we invested in either one of them. If I remember correctly, maybe a little in Near at some point at the top of the bull run. But that's why they're always intertwined because we were looking at them rising at the same time. So the journalist stress right now, it's particularly important, blah, 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 blah. What is the real reason? He stated that based on his earlier reporting, the SEC decided that Ripple was flouting its authority because the crypto company continued to sell XRP tokens. Blah, blah, blah. In this case, blah. What is the real reason? Does he say it here? The SEC's authority by continuing to sell. Okay, I think what he's saying here, if you really have to read between the lines, he's saying that the SEC felt like Ripple was bragging and Ripple felt like it was untouchable, and that's why they went after him. What?
Yeah.
And does that surprise you?
No, it does not at all.
Not at all. That's the current state of the SEC with Gary Gensler at the helm. Okay. Logan Paul threatens, here we are with quick hits. Let's just go 5 minutes over. Logan Paul threatens to sue CoffeeZilla over crypto zoo scam allegations. We'll have much more about this tonight on the 10 o'clock video, Eastern Standard Time, of course. Bored Ape Yacht Club gets matching watches with Timex. This is good. I mean, it's great to do this at the bottom of the market instead of the very peak of the market.
Hey, timing is everything.
That's a good one. That's really, really good. I got to watch you. You'll come up with some good ones sometimes. Vault rejects Nexo's final acquisition proposal. Okay, so they're not going to buy it. That's official. Pionex removes Huobi's market-making funds. Interesting. Pionex, I don't know if it's above, I don't even know if it's above Bitmart, but Huobi's a big deal. It's getting removed from Pionex. Feels like the bigger story might be the other way around or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, couple questions.
Yeah, real quick.
Yep.
We had a super chat from earlier. I think it's interesting. Ryan Douglas, do you think we are close to quantum computing? And if so, what issues will that bring? We actually talked about this yesterday on Basement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Guys, don't forget Blockchain Basement at 1:15. TJ's going to have to run.
Yeah.
Quantum computing is not a big threat to Bitcoin, okay? You hear this all the time. It's a narrative. One day, if Bitcoin stayed exactly the same, it could be, okay? But let me explain to you why I'm not worried about quantum computing. Number one, there's hardly any of them, any serious contenders for having real, true quantum computers out there right now. These quantum computers have to be stored in absolute zero, right? Absolute zero is the temperature condition they have to be stored in. Is it absolute 0 or 0 degrees? Let me double check that.
I've heard that.
I've heard
you say
I think it
zero.
is absolute 0.
Well, the other thing too, and this is something we talked about, it comes down to incentives too, where you don't want to break it
near absolute zero temperatures. So what are you gonna say?
I'm just saying, basically, it's going to take a long time for that technology to come to fruition, like you're saying. And even when it does, it will most likely either be used to mine, and which would then increase the hash rate. There is I don't
know if these will ever be available on a retail level.
No, I don't think they will really be on a retail level. But if there's enough on a nation level, then you could see there's some things that happen there. But what I was saying, and this is to your point about the things that could change with Bitcoin, they could update SHA-256 at some point.
There you go.
And that would be all it takes to get rid of it.
Right. Just like technically they could by consensus agree to proof of stake. Never will. They could agree to inflate the supply, which could happen after we're all dead and gone. Bitcoin cycles run to 2140. So who knows what they're going to be thinking in the year 2110, right? The Bitcoin Max will be like, they'll be thinking the exact same thing that we think today.
Of course.
Of course they're going to say that. But we just don't know. You can't predict the future. The same way that those things could technically happen based on consensus, SHA-256, it's almost an inevitability that it's going to have to eventually be changed on a Bitcoin update, which occurs every couple of years pretty much, or upgrade, I think they call it, from SHA-256 to, who knows, SHA, I don't know.
Crimson Caravan Company says
512,024.
QTM 256.
What's that?
He just said QTM 256.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that's, SHA stands for something. But anyways, I digress. Here's the other thing about it, is that if quantum computing can crack Bitcoin, it can also crack nuclear codes.
Right.
So
it can crack anything.
We've got way bigger problems than Bitcoin. If everything basically is able to be hacked, you're going to see a lot of security upgrades over the next 10 years. I think it's probably 20 years before this would be a serious threat. In the next 10 years, probably they're going to have to start talking and getting some stuff approved for the Bitcoin network to make that upgrade. So that's all we got for today's show. That's a very interesting question. I love talking about quantum computing because so many people don't understand it. Make sure to smash the like button on the way out. Number one thing you can do, help the BitSquad. I didn't even say smash the likes today because yesterday I told you first thing you do when you come in is smash the like button. So come back tonight, 10 p.m. We got, I think, Near Protocol at 3 today, I think. Got a lot more videos for you guys today. That's all we got. Don't forget to check out my book, Jump to Crypto. Giveaway on tonight's video at 10. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.